You know, I always say on this channel, pay-per-view fights should actually be free. And now the day has come where I'm about to hook you up with an app where you can watch all your pay-per-view events, boxing, UFC, etc. for free. I want to introduce Block TV, the best internet streaming television app out there. They provide over 3,600 channels, including HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, and Stars. They have a massive video on demand library with over 40,000 of the new release movies and the latest TV series. And it also includes DVR. So you're getting all of this for $34.99 a month. And once again, that includes free pay-per-view. So this one right here is a no-brainer, guys, because back in Las Vegas, I was paying damn near $200 a month for my cable. Those days are long gone now. So to get the app, make sure you guys go over to getblocktv.com and put in my promo code and get 30% off your first month. You also get a free month for every friend you refer. The promo code is DBNation. Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Boy, this Canelo story just gets more and more compelling, doesn't it? I mean, once we heard that DAZN had rejected Canelo Alvarez's handpicked opponent, which was this Yildirim guy, whatever his name is, you thought that was the end of it, and Canelo was going to start fishing for a new opponent, and that was it, right? But apparently, DAZN rejecting this opponent did not deter Canelo Alvarez. Because guess what? Canelo still wants to fight him next, regardless of what DAZN said. In fact, they're willing to fight him at all costs, even if it means going over to Showtime and working with Haymon just to get this opponent, Yildirim, in the ring with Canelo next. So Yildirim's manager, Ahmed Owner, he did an interview and he said that he's already contacted advisor Haymon about starting negotiations to stage a Canelo Alvarez fight on Showtime rather than DAZN. And then he says the WBC president is still pushing for the Yildirim fight, which means Canelo Alvarez is still pushing for the fight. Because remember, the WBC president, he came out and he said it was Canelo Alvarez that wanted to take this fight. We didn't offer it to Canelo. Canelo requested it. I'm gonna read a piece of this article and a quote of what Ahmed Owner said. So the article reads, they don't accept Avni Yildirim as an opponent, but the WBC president Solomon continues to insist on the fight between Alvarez and Yildirim. I have now contacted the well-known promoter Haymon. He will negotiate for us. His partner in the TV sector is Showtime. If no agreement is reached by September 22nd, the fight will be auctioned off. We're going to bid $40 million. End quote. And the reason why Owner says the fight will be auctioned off is because the WBC has already agreed to take this fight to purse bid since DAZN doesn't want to accept the opponent. For some of you guys that don't know anything about purse bids, that's one of the many advantages of being the president of a major belt, championship belt in boxing, is whenever you have a mandatory challenger fighting for a belt, you can auction off who actually gets rights to that fight. You can auction it off to any promoter or network with the highest bid. But this doesn't only apply to fighters that are considered mandatory challengers. As we see in this situation, it could just be a fight that was ordered by the WBC president. And that's the exact case in this situation. Now, I know some of you guys are listening to this news extremely confused, asking yourself, wait a minute, if the WBC could have ordered Canelo Alvarez to fight for the WBC belt, why couldn't he order a Canelo versus Jamal Charlo fight for the WBC belt, since Charlo was the WBC mandatory for over 2 years? And the answer to that question is, actually, he did order that fight. And that's when Canelo Alvarez elected to vacate the belt because the WBC forced him to fight Jermall Charlo or vacate the belt. This is when, according to the WBC president, it was Canelo Alvarez that requested to vacate the belt and asked for some type of consolation trophy so he can save face and it doesn't look like he just outright ducked Jermall Charlo in the process. This is the reason why it makes no sense for any fan to try to say, hey, well, this is BS because Jermall Charlo, he turned down a fight. Guys, if Jermall Charlo turned down a fight to fight against the champion when he was the mandatory, if that was the case, why would Canelo Alvarez elect to vacate his belt and give it to Jermall Charlo? Have you guys ever heard of any champion doing that? They were trying to fight their mandatory, and their mandatory turned down the fight. So they said, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and give this guy that just ducked me my championship belt so he can become the champion and I can now become beltless. Does that make any sense? It makes absolutely no sense at all. And you can't say, oh, well, he was elevated to the franchise belt. Once again, it was Canelo Alvarez that requested the franchise belt, number one. And number two, even the WBC president himself, he said the franchise belt, it's not a belt and it's not a title. It's really just a status. And according to the WBC president, he said that belt was really designed to make fighters fight the best opponents. This is what the WBC president said. But now he's ordering Canelo Alvarez to fight Avni Yildirim instead of the best opponents available, like a David Benavidez or someone else on that level, or like a Jermall Charlo or Demetrius Andrade. This is getting really bad for Canelo Alvarez, man. It's getting really, really bad for Canelo. Now, it's obvious that Canelo, he wants to take this fight because it's a guaranteed win. It's the perfect type of cherry to pick. But there's a good chance he's also taking this fight because of the pay cut that he was supposed to take when it comes to DAZN, right? DAZN, they were telling him, you have to take a pay cut. So maybe Canelo's like, okay, well, if you're going to cut my pay, then I'm going to fight the weakest opposition available. But that still makes no sense at all. Because if Canelo really believed in his ability, then he could have picked one of the top guys and said, you know what, I'm just going to pick one of the top guys that I know I will handle easily. But he can't even do that. I mean, let you Canelo Alvarez fans tell it. You guys keep saying that Andrade and Charlo are bums and Canelo would destroy him. He would beat him easy. Okay, so if that's the case, why didn't Canelo choose to fight someone like Andrade or Charlo as opposed to Avni Yildirim? Even if it's not Canelo Alvarez's very next fight, even if it has to be pushed back. I mean, Andrade and Charlo, they've already agreed that they're willing to go to 168 to fight Canelo. So why isn't Canelo Alvarez fighting someone that you decafs claim Canelo Alvarez beats hands down? We know what time it is, man. We know what time it is. So now Canelo Alvarez and the WBC, they pretty much run the whole show. Canelo, he tells Golden Boy what he wants to do. He tells DAZN what he wants to do. And if they don't give him what he wants, he threatens to leave to another network. And he's doing all of this just to destroy his own legacy. I'm telling you right now, DAZN and Golden Boy, they better really put their foot down. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.